and all new. Comedians in cars by themselves.
I just had my annual physical. It seemed like it went okay, but she gave me a nice compliment, so I thanked her. And she said, "Why did you thank me for that?" And I said, "Didn't you just say I was a beast?" And she said, "No, I said you were obese." So I said to her, "Would you advise an exercise program?" She said, "Absolutely not. I wouldn't start exercising until you're in better shape." I said, "What are you trying to say?" She said, "Well, you're fat." I said, "You know what? I think I want a second opinion." She said, "Okay, you're ugly too." You can exercise, eat right, do all the right things, get enough sleep, and you're still gonna die. Oh my goodness. Reality check. Oh, my pizza's ready.
So we're telling doctor jokes now. Is that what we're doing? Mike Franzman? All right, I have a few. Maybe you've heard these before. I don't know. They're kind of old. So a guy goes in for an exam. And when he's done with the exam, the doctor comes in and he says, "Well, I'm afraid to tell you that you only have 10 to live." The guy goes, "What do you mean 10 to live? What do you mean 10 years, 10 months?" Doctor goes, 10, 9, 8. Another guy goes in for an exam. The doctor says, "Well, I'll tell you one thing I know for sure. You're going to have to stop masturbating." The guy goes, "Why?" And doctor goes, "So I can examine you?" Guy goes into the doctor. "Doc, I have blinding pains in my forehead. I can't concentrate. It's affecting my life." Okay. X-rays, CAT scans, the whole 9 yards. Doctor comes back and he says, "Okay, I'm afraid it's not good news, but you there is a bright side. You have a very extremely rare condition. It does happen. You are going to be having over the next several months a penis growing out of your forehead, and the pain that you feel is the beginnings of that." The guy goes, "That's terrible." Doctor goes, "But I don't want you to worry about it because you'll never see it." Okay. Doctor says, "Come back in a few weeks." All right. Guy comes back in a few weeks. He's got a cap pulled down. Doctor says, "Okay, let's have a look-see." He takes the cap off, and there is indeed the head of a penis already starting to grow out of this guy's forehead. And doctor goes, "I see it's progressing. I see. Patient says, "Well, you're gonna remove it, right?" Doctor says, "Well, as I told you before, don't worry. You'll never see it." Patient goes, "Okay." Doctor says, "Come back in a few more weeks." Okay. Guy comes back in a few more weeks. He's got a towel wrapped around his head. Doctor says, "Okay, let's have a look." He unwraps it, and there's 4 inches of a penis growing out of his forehead. And he goes, "Doc, and doctor says, "I see it's progressing." He says, "Doc, listen, I can't work anymore. I can't leave the house. I'm a freak. I got this thing going on. Surely you're gonna remove it at this point." And doctor says, "Well, as I tell you, you'll never see it." He goes, "Doc, what do you mean you'll never see it? It's right there. What do you mean you can't see it?" Doctor says, "Well, once the balls drop down over your eyes." This has been Comedians in Cars by Themselves.
This old guy goes to the doctor, and the doctor runs a lot of very expensive tests. And he says, "Look, I got some bad news. You only got 6 months to live." And the guy says, "Well, Doc, I'm not going to be able to pay you in that time." And the doctor says, "Take another 6 months." Phone rings, guy answers it, and it's his doctor. And his doctor says, "Hey, I have some bad news and I have some worse news. The bad news is I ran all your tests, and you only have a day to live. You'll be dead within 24 hours, according to these tests." And the guy says, "Wow, that's the bad news. What could be worse than that?" And the doctor says, "Well, I tried all day yesterday to get a hold of you." Guy goes to the doctor. He has a complete physical, a slew of tests, and he says, "Doc, give me the news." And the doctor says, "Look, you're going to live to be 60. And the guy goes, "But I'm 60 now." And the doctor says, "What'd I tell you?" Old guy goes to the doctor, and they run a ton of tests, and the doctor says, "Look, I got some bad news for you. you have cancer and you also have advanced Alzheimer's. And the guy thinks about it and he says, wow, Alzheimer's. Thank God I don't have cancer. This guy has a really bad stutter and he's tired of it. So he finally goes to a doctor and says, is there anything you could do about my stutter? The doctor says, all right, let me examine you head to toe. We'll see what's what. And the doctor says, I have some good news. The reason you're stuttering is because you have a huge member down there. And the weight of that member is putting too much stress on your vocal cords. And that's why you're having trouble with your speech. But if I shorten it, if I shorten your penis, your stutter should go away. And the patient says, "Well, that's great news, doc. Let's do it." So they schedule the surgery. They have the surgery. They shorten the guy's penis by like 6 inches. And when the guy wakes up, he talks totally normal. And the operation was a success. About a month later, the patient calls the doctor back and he says, "Doc, my wife is furious and she says I have to reverse the surgery. Can you reverse the surgery for me?" And the doctor says, that's impossible.